Jeffrey West with Future Real Estate here. Just pulled up to first appointment of the day, and that's going to be letting a home inspector into a property here in Ruidoso that a buyer client has put under contract for purchase a couple weeks ago, and this is our first scheduled appointment with one of the top home inspectors in the area. In just a few minutes, and I haven't even prepped Everett here, that I'm going to put him on the spot for an educational video. We'll just show you how good he is and have him answer some questions on why home inspections are important to either the buyer or the seller when preparing to go on the market. So Everett Brophy here with Cool Pines Inspections is starting to get his gadgets going. Let me tell you, Everett here with Cool Pines is the inspector with definitely all the gadgets.
All right, how are we this morning, everybody? We're going to do a little exploration on this structure over here today.
All right, so Everett and I are down here in the basement, garage, crawl space, whatever you want to call it, and our first stop is taking a look at the water heater. Now, Everett, tell us a little bit, what are you looking for in a water heater, and what are some of the important critical points you're looking for?
All right, Jeff, that's a great question. And so first of all, we are going to determine our make or manufacturer of each unit. In this case, our unit happens to be a state water heater. We're going to then come down into the identification numbers, and we're going to look for the model number, the serial number, and the capacity. So we're going to see how many gallons our unit is. In this case, this is a 40-gallon unit. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to locate our serial numbers. We're going to run our serial numbers, and then we're going to determine our age. This so happens to be a 1989 state water heater, still in operation and appears to be in good functioning condition at this time. We're looking for our TPRV valve, which is our temperature pressure relief valve, which helps prevent any explosion inside of the water heater. And if it ever gets too much pressure, it just discharges out of this line right here.
So the hot water comes out of that line, and if you don't have that line and it discharges and you're standing near it or next to it,
or you have walls next to it, or you're next to it, or you have personal belongings, it can just create a lot of damage to the area. So we always want to make sure that our TPRV valve is hooked up correctly. And then we're going to look for our water inlets. We're going to look for our flue pipe, and any signs of visible corrosion, water leaking, anything like that, would give us telltale signs that there could be problems with the water heater, or just additional things to look at for further analysis. So
okay, well, perfect.
We're looking okay on this one though.
Great. Let's take a look at the furnace.
All right, moving on to the furnace here after taking a look at the water heater. Everett, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you're looking for here.
Okay, so Jeff, it's the same type of situation. We're looking for the manufacturer, we're looking for the make and model number, we're trying to determine the age, the BTUs per hour, and is the machine functioning correctly. As you can hear, the ignition start up just fine. Our pilot light was already lit. Our 5 burners, have already ignited, and they are now warming up the heat exchanger. Once the heat exchanger reaches our correct temperature, it's then going to engage the internal fans and start distributing the hot air throughout the structure. So we're just going to give it a second here. We're going to let it warm up. We're going to let those fans engage. We're just going to check that all the operation is correct. We have a few things that we can check during the operation of this, and that's going to be, our exhausts up here, our fans down here, and then just making sure that our burners have the proper color. Obviously we're looking for blue. We're looking for blue colored flames. We're not looking for a lot of yellow or reds or anything like that. And that would indicate that there's a problem with the air-fuel ratio, something along those lines, okay? Obviously that would be a question for your HVAC technician or your licensed plumber. We're still just waiting for our fan to engage here. It's probably been a minute since she's fired up, so let's give it just a few more seconds. We're making sure that our safety switches are working for our lower fans. We don't want anyone to be able to reach their hands in there during the operation of that fan and injure themselves or hurt themselves.
Now, do you test for carbon monoxide?
We do always test for carbon monoxide output, but that'll be once we put all of our panels back on the unit. Okay. Yeah, so that way we can just ensure that the system itself is functioning correctly.
Okay, and then you'll do a safety check to make
and
sure
then we'll do a safety check. Yeah,
right.
I mean, we have so many steps that go into inspecting these furnaces, but just for the common homeowner or someone who doesn't have a lot to know or doesn't need to know a lot about their HVAC system, mainly it's going to be your burner color.
Right.
If we are definitely seeing large amounts of yellow flame or backballing or anything coming out of the unit,
Something's different.
yeah, we need to be on the phone and give somebody a call. Here's our fan.
Firing up.
All right.
Looks like it's going great. So
far,
Everett, this here is probably a pretty rare find in today's modern home. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about this for those younger than ourselves?
Man, well, this thing right here is actually a pencil sharpener. And you insert the pencil here into the insert and then crank the lever, and this bad boy actually sharpens a real pencil. We'll take a look here on the inside, just to make sure that it's functioning properly. So these little gears right here, this is actually what shaves your pencil down and creates it to be pointing. You know, these are real typical in 1970s, late 1960s style homes. And you know, they are just a real unique feature to still find in operation in this condition.
Wow, Everett, that's a pretty special find. All right, so we're up in the main part of the house, going to take a look at the electrical panel. Everett, what are you looking for here?
All right, guys, well, first things first, we're gonna pop it open. We're just gonna make sure that we don't have any open inserts or open blanks is what they're called. And you know, we're just gonna make sure that we can't stick our fingers or anything inside of the electrical panel. We're also gonna look for the manufacturer. We have a square D load center here with a 200 amp main breaker. So now we're gonna go off and into the panel and see what she looks like. Okay, so it's a little bit messy in here. It's not as clean as some of the panels that we normally see, but there's a few key factors that we're gonna look for. We're gonna look for arcing. We're going to look for double taps, which is 2 or more wires going into a single breaker connection or underneath a single lug nut. We're also going to look and verify our main service into the structure, and we're also going to make sure that we don't have any loose wire connections inside of this panel. So we're just gonna take a brief inspection. All right, so we do have one loose wire connection here inside the panel. No wing nut or anything like that. We just have a little bit of electrical tape on it. So obviously we're gonna want an electrician to come and take a look at this and verify that this wire is not live and it's not doing anything obstructive to the panel or causing any types of safety issues. We're also going to check for breaker overloading. So we're gonna pull out our trusty thermal flare detector here, and we're actually going to check the temperature of our breakers themselves to make sure that they're not overloading, overheating, or causing any type of fire issue.
So electricity generates heat through the wire. So if there's an overload, you're going to have a sensor that's going to show an excessive temperature.
Exactly.
Going through the breaker.
40 plus degrees over ambient temperature is actually what we're looking for. So whatever the ambient temperature is in the house, here our ambient temperature is it's about 60 degrees. So, you know, we'd be looking for something well over 100 degrees without that circuit being in operation. So we look pretty good inside of this panel today, and other than it being a little bit messy, I don't think we have any real issues.
Okay, well that's some good news.
That is good.
All right, so that inspection really was just a small portion of the full scope of what a home inspector does when they perform a head-to-toe inspection on a house. Everett's probably got another 3 hours at this home to check roof, more in-depth inspection on electrical. He'll check plumbing underneath the sinks, any connections. He's going to double check for evidence of any past water leaks, window sills, and the seals. The list goes on. Generally, the reports that he will generate are about 30 to 45 pages long, with circles and arrows and photographs and descriptions on pretty much the whole process. So it's really, if you're looking to buy, definitely you want to go with a strong home inspector. If you're looking to put your house on the market for sale, I definitely recommend that you take a look and see if there's any hidden things that you haven't seen through the course of your ownership. Jeffrey West, Future Real Estate. Look forward to talking to you soon.